Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Perry Show. You may have seen him on The Tonight Show, America's Got Talent, The Late Late Show, and many other shows as well. And yes, ladies, you will love this. He's also an ex-male stripper. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Perry Kurtz!
Thank you very much. I know right now the women are looking at me and thinking, here's a guy who won't hurt me. Yeah, well, my name is Perry Kurtz, and can we get a little more bass? No, less bass maybe, bring that up a little bit. Can everybody see me where you're seated? I want to make sure you can see me. It's hard to spot me in my jacket. I bought this jacket in 1981 for $21. Yep, not bad. A couple weeks ago, somebody said from the side, I look like a baked potato with shoes. Is that wrong? I don't know, maybe it's true. And if you don't know who I am, if you're seeing me tonight for the first time, let me apologize that you're seeing me tonight for the first time. My name is Perry. It's Perry Kurtz. As in, well, most of you guys would remember Perry Como, and there was a Perry Mason, there's Periwinkle, which is a color, and now there is a very famous rock and roll singer by the name of Katy Perry. Only she's a woman, I'm a man. Don't make me prove it. I proved it last week. She looked down and said, oh, you're Jewish. But not very. That was the first dick joke of the show. Dick jokes are very popular in comedy. You can always tell a dick joke because they stick out in the comics act. And we slip them in every chance we can. And when it comes to dick jokes, people eat them right up. Except for this guy in the front row, he's trying not to puke right now. Hold that lunch down. So I am a comedian. This is what I've been doing. I've been doing comedy full time for 45 years. I have never had a day job. Of course, after this, I'm thinking about getting a job. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Philadelphia. Now, I want you guys to know my show is a little different. I'm actually going to want you guys to respond, but I will ask you questions, but I want you to have to applaud or put your hands up. But if your answer is yes, I want you to make a sound very popular in the Deep South. If your answer is yes, I want you to go, ee-haw! All right, see, women like it already because women just like to make noises. So on the count of three, we're going to have a practice. Everybody go ee-haw as hard and as long as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Obviously, she's very relieved already. Okay. First question. How many people are seeing me today for the first time? Okay. How many have never seen me before? No. I confused a couple people. We'll simplify it. How many people are here today? Yeah! Yeah. How many don't know where you are? Yeah! And how many really don't give a damn at this point? Yeah! All right, let's get a little personal. How many people in the past week have had sex? Yeah! There was a big delay there. Big delay. Just for the hell of it, how many had sex with another person? Anybody at all? Why are you three looking at each other? I don't know. Sorry, I'm a dick. That's just, yeah. Well, as I said, I am originally from Philadelphia. I'm sure you've heard of Philadelphia, one of the original cities. And I grew up there, went to school there. And Philadelphia is known as one of the first cities in the country, but they also talk about themselves being progressive and advanced and forward-thinking. They're so forward-thinking. All this time, they haven't fixed the Liberty Bell. We can put a man on the moon, but you can't put some duct tape over that crack? So my mother's back there. My mother's 88 years old, and I'm pretty sure she has dementia. Anybody here with dementia? Yeah! So I can repeat myself for 5 minutes. I call her up, it's the same thing. Hi, Ma. Who's this? This is Perry. Perry? My son's name is Perry. Mom, this is your son. This is Perry. Oh, okay. All right. Who's calling? Mom, this is Perry. I'm calling you. Perry's not here. No, Mom, I am Perry. Your name's Perry, too? No, Mom, I'm your son. Oh. Well, who are you looking for? I'm looking for you. But who's calling? Mom, this is Perry. I'm your son. Oh, I have two sons named Perry? So I've learned it's called sundowner's dementia. When you get old, the way it works, like you ever wake somebody up from a dead sleep, and for the first couple minutes, they don't know what the hell you're saying. You say hello, and they're going, there's a tree. You know, they don't know what's going on. It's the same thing. If she's watching TV and you get her attention, she cannot follow you. So I've learned to skip to the right now 10 minutes ago. So I go to, well, Mom, did you eat today? And she goes, hold on, let me look in the sink. See, the problem with old people is they forget to eat. Now, I don't know if you've ever done this. You get up and you're walking around your home one day, and you're walking around, all of a sudden you're going, oh yeah, I forgot to eat something. Keep some fruit in the house. Eat something every day. So she's back in Philadelphia, little tiny woman. She's 88 years old. And all her life, she's been compared to Debbie Reynolds. She's got red hair, and it's still natural, still naturally red at 88. And she doesn't color it. Sure. But she's got big cheekbones, and all her life people told her she looked like Debbie Reynolds. Now, when Debbie Reynolds died, she called me up. She said, Par, Debbie Reynolds is dead. Now who do I look like? I said, Burt Reynolds. She goes, I do him. I wish she would. She'd be happy. I called her up a couple of weeks ago. I said, Mom, are you pregnant? She goes, I'm going to have to wait a month to find out. Which I thought was pretty damn clever. But she's great, always been a good mother. When I was 12 years old, 1963, she took me to a women's liberation march in downtown Philadelphia. The early days when women were taking off their bras in public. So since then, I have been a feminist. I support women and their bras and titties. I love... Is there anybody here that doesn't like titties? We all love titties, and women look at titties more than men. You know why? Because they're comparing theirs to those. Mine are fuller, mine are smaller, mine are larger. You know, and the reason we all like titties is because our first meal comes from a boob 3 times the size of our head. So when we see big ones, like, oh, dinner's over there, hello. So I grew up in Philadelphia, and we used to go down the shore. Now you've heard of the shore, right? Everybody heard the shore. That is Atlantic City. We used to go down to Atlantic City in the summer, and this is before they brought the casinos in. And I went down there every summer to party and meet people. And I have a sweet tooth. When I was 10 years old, my mother found me on the floor in the kitchen, on my back, drinking Hershey syrup directly out of a can. Look, pouring all over my face. Well, because of that, I grew up to be diabetic. I still like chocolate. Like crazy, all the time. Every night, I go to bed with a big piece of dark chocolate in my mouth. And dark chocolate is actually good for you. Did you know that? It has antioxidants. It's good for stress and pain. It'll help you sleep. It cures diarrhea. But you want to put it in this end, okay? Just let me do that. So I'm diabetic. So I was going down there, and I went to this bar, and I sat down, and I'm drinking double shots of Southern Comfort chased with a Coke, no ice. Now you're thinking Southern Comfort, that's bad stuff. That's mostly sugar. That's what I wanted. Well, I'm chugging it. A big cowboy trucker comes in, sits down next to me, goes, "Damn, little man like you," and he turns his hat around so it wasn't hitting my head. He said, "You think you can drink more, little man?" I said, "If you're buying," he said, "I'm buying." And I said, okay, he bought me 6 more double shots of Southern Comfort. That's 3/4 of a bottle. Now, I'm a little guy, I'm a little under 6 feet tall. I'll tell you when it's a fucking joke. And so he bought them, and I just kept on chugging. I am just putting them away, just As I finished drinking them, he got up and he left the bar. And I'm sitting there like this. Oh boy, I think I'm drunk now. And the thought went through my head, well, now that I'm drunk as hell, it should be easy to pick up a woman. Why do guys think they're sexy? Because they can mumble and drool at the same time. Ladies, you ever see that? The guy you walk past, he's leaning against the wall, you go, "Hey, come here. Hi, hi, how you doing? You like me? I have a weenie." Well, I did when I came in. So I got up off the bar stool. As I got up, I lost control, and I turned into liquid mercury and slowly slid off the bar stool in slow motion. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to get up and go meet a woman. So I got up and I wandered out of the bar. I did 2 things that drunks do. Number 1, I started to walk, I fell, I hit one knee, bounced up, turned around, and watched myself do it in slow motion. And turned into Keanu Reeves. Whoa. Then I did the stumble and stabilize against the invisible wall. You ever see when they do it like this? And they're fine, they go into the bar. So I go into the bar, and I'm trying to talk to women, trying to get them to dance with me, but they couldn't understand me, and I knew that because I couldn't understand me. I'm basically going, and one woman went, I took that to mean no. And then I said to one, what? But you, bitch! Well, I wound up in the corner, talking to a little girl with really big hair. Back in the 70s, they had the beehive haircuts. And it was all the way up, and it was like really thick. And I was talking to her, and she was just staring at me. But she wasn't pushing me away. She wasn't giving me the finger, so I thought I was doing good. But I realized nothing was happening. I got depressed. I wandered out of the bar. I walked across the street. I stood on the end of the dock, looking at the Atlantic Ocean, watching the waves splashing up and down. Oh, this is no good. Nobody wants me. I'm gonna be alone forever. I stepped off the dock. What I didn't see 6 feet down sticking out was another dock. I landed on it, smashed my head on a metal rail. I wake up the next morning, I'm in jail in the cell with like 30 other guys. I'm on my back, there's vomit on my chest. And I looked at that, I said, I hope that's my own vomit. My friend bails me out. It was $1,000 because it was a Coast Guard dock. It was hydraulic, it goes all the way up to the big Coast Guard cutters. And I had climbed 2 10-foot chain link fences. I may have been drunk, but I was focused. So we're driving back in his car, and I think it was like a '68 Ford Fairlane or something like that. I remember it was like a stupid looking yellow. And I'm sitting there holding this lump on my head the size of a baseball. And he said, "Man, you were messed up." I said, "Yeah, I don't remember much." He goes, "Well, what do you remember?" I said, "The last thing I remember is I was in the corner talking with a little girl with big hair." And he goes, "Little girl with big hair? You're on your knees talking to a bar stool." So I stopped drinking, and I've not had any alcohol since 1974. Now, a friend of mine, I was asking, what do people usually spend because I don't buy alcohol? I said, what do people usually spend? He said, people will spend about $20 a night. He says, in 45 years, you would have saved $350,000. And I thought, I should be living better than I am, shouldn't I? So I stopped drinking, took up a comedy class in Philadelphia. See, all my life people told me I was funny. I've always made jokes. I found it's a great defense. I grew up with a father who was kind of abusive. He hit me a lot. He broke my nose a bunch of times. If you look at my nose, it makes a right-hand turn from the right-handed cross. And he would come to the house and just smack me for no reason. And one time he was yelling at my little brother, and I jumped between them. And he said to me, "Do I have to take off my belt?" And I said, "I'd appreciate it because it's smaller than your hand." He laughed and he walked out of the room, and I said, "This stuff works." And I started making people laugh by dealing with things that are happening right now. Like you walk into the market, it's 1:45, they're going to close. You look at the clerk and say, "I guess you're ready to go," and they go, "Ha ha ha ha, yes I am." It's called relative humor. So that's what I dealt with. So I took a comedy class in Philadelphia, was working with some big comics out there in Philly. And then in 1979, I decided to make a move. And I heard that San Francisco was the place where it was happening. So I moved out there, and the first comic I met who became a good friend was a guy named Robin Williams. Him and I became big partying buddies, if you get my gist. And Robin and I were really close. We did a lot of improv together. We hung out together all the time. And what's really strange is that way back in, I think it was '76, I went to San Francisco and I met him. And I had on suspenders. She said, "Oh man, suspenders, that's great." I said, "Well, I hate belts." He goes, "That's a great idea." Then he shows up on Mork and Mindy. So I was hanging out there. Those are the great days. Everybody was coming by. We're hanging out at a regular club. Kevin Pollak, Harry Anderson. We were all just buddies. And so I was working out there, and I got a little notoriety because my first paying job was running the only male strip show for women in San Francisco. Okay? The only male strip show for women in San Francisco. And I say that because there's a lot of guys in San Francisco. Let's just say they're really happy. You know what I mean? These are guys who will bend over forwards for you, you know? So the way the club was set up to keep them out, a man couldn't come in unless he was with a woman. And it was amphitheater seating, 185 seats. You go in, you go down, and the seats are up like this. And the spotlight was in the back of the room. And so I was up there talking dirty to the women, wearing a little black tuxedo. And you think my hair's big now, it was up to here then. My glasses were like the size of my face. And I was up there talking dirty to ladies, telling them, "All right, this next guy's going to come down and be careful because he's going to mix your drink with his penis. That's right, it's a penis colada. And you want some cream on there?" That's what I used to say. Well, women started yelling, "We want you to strip, we want you to strip." Now, I'm a dancer. I could do this. So I said, all right. So I went backstage and I got dressed. I had my tuxedo on. But I got the time to go to a local store and I picked up 9 pairs of Speedos in different patterns. I had stripes, I had polka dots, I had metal, I had little horses, I had little bunnies. And what I would do is I would go out and I would take off the jacket, and I'll show you how I take off the jacket. So, as we say in the business, I'm going to take it off. Now, ladies, and that one gentleman, I'm only taking off the jacket, so don't pull it out your dollar bills, okay? All right, take out your dollar bills. And so I would go out there and I would do this. And then I would dance around, shaking my booty and all that stuff. And I had on a really large tuxedo shirt, oversized, because it would get so hot. And I would go into the audience, and the women, let's just say they were touchy-feely, okay? And licky-sucky. It was, but see, you couldn't tell what was going on in front of me because the light was coming from the back. And at one point, I just put my shirt over their heads, and you couldn't tell. But what would happen is while I was on stage, I would unzip my pants and I would act like I got caught. And women love it when men get their dick caught in the zipper. It's so funny to them, isn't it, ladies? So I pulled down my pants, and now there's stripes. And they laughed. And then I pulled them down. Now there's polka dots. And I pulled them down. So I pulled down 9 pairs of underwear. I'm running around the stage with my underpants around my feet going, which obviously doesn't look normal. Then I would go out into the audience. So I did that for a while, and I made a lot of money. They were paying me very, very well. I was getting $3 grand a week to do that from 79 to 84. Multiply that times 5. I was living really well. I lived on Haight Street. You've heard of Haight-Ashbury. I had a big 3-bedroom apartment. My bedroom was bigger than this room. It was gigantic. So I was living the good life up there. And then AIDS came out. And I said, if I stay here with all the sex I'm having, with all these strange women, I am going to die. So I quit the strip club, and I went on the road and became a road comic. And I traveled 45 weeks a year. Was all over the country. I've been in every state except Alaska and Hawaii, because I'm not allowed to leave the mainland. So I traveled around, learned that I love the South. I love Vegas. Anybody from the South? Yeah. All right. See, people in the South are not in a hurry like we are. They enjoy talking, so they stretch every word out. They don't just say hello, they go, hi, how are you? What's up? And they're very friendly in the South, so I learned to love the South. So I was doing that, traveling around, and I think it was 1983 or 84, I was having dinner with Bill Cosby. I got to meet him through somebody. I was having dinner with him once a month. And I know what you've heard about him. He was kind of a jerk. He was not friendly to service people. And I do remember one time I fell asleep at dinner. And I woke up and there was a cigar in my mouth. Well, I think it was a cigar. Anyway, I fell right back. But through him, I got to meet 2 of my other best friends. One was Rodney Dangerfield. Met him, we bonded, became best friends. He was flying me to New York, $3 grand a week to do 5 nights, and he would tell me, don't bring any cash. He paid for everything and made sure that I was smoked up out of my brain. He loved to party. Put me up in a nice Hilton or a Hyatt there. Was working there 3 times a year. And then a couple years later, I met another old-timer guy named Milton Berle. Milton was the first TV comedian. And he became like my grandfather. And he told me that in comedy, it's about personality. So I became buddies with him, and he was flying me down to Los Angeles 3 or 4 times a year to work at the Friars Club. You've heard of that, where they do the roasts? I got to do 11 minutes instead of 5 minutes. They left me up there for 11 minutes, and the place was packed. I get off the stage, there's Johnny Carson, an old-timer named Joey Bishop, a big comic named Shecky Green, and Phyllis Diller, the first female comic. Johnny Carson walks up, takes my hand, and goes, hey kid, I saw your stuff, you're pretty funny. You know what, you're likable. That's unusual for a comedian. The other comic says, how you doing? The really tall guy goes, you're really small. Phyllis Stewart gave me a hug and her wig fell off. That was the one. So I picked it up and put it on. She goes, "You're funny." I get a tap on the shoulder. I turn around. It's a little bald fat guy. He takes my hand and goes, "Hey kid, I saw your stuff. Nice try." Don Rickles. Carson walks over and says, "Hey, if Don Rickles made fun of you, you've got a future." So while we were there, Milt made a call to the Comedy Store. Got me an audition. I went down there, I did a parody, my strip routine where I get up and I would dance, just drop my jacket. And I got in, I became a regular at the Comedy Store. So now my name is actually on the wall of the Comedy Store. Of course, it's by the back door where nobody's ever gonna see it. I really thought they were gonna put it on the bottom of a step so you'd have to lay on the ground to see it. But I was working there and having a good time. So once that happened, and I got into the Comedy Store, I moved to Los Angeles. I said, I gotta get down there because that's where the work is. I moved down here, and in 2000, I met my wife online. Now, let me tell you something. I've been married now for 29 years in a row. Wait. But I've been separated for 9. So I've been happy for the last 9 years. So don't date online, okay? But when we did it, in those days, we didn't have pictures. This is how old it was. We didn't have pictures. We didn't even have colored letters. The letters would build themselves dot by dot. I typed my name and it went doot, 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 doot. That was the P alone. By the time I finished printing my name on the screen, my wife made a sandwich, ate it, digested it, made another sandwich. So we started going out. Now in those days, when I moved down here, I had a motorcycle. If you go to my website, you'll see it. It was called the Perry Cycle. It was a big blue Kawasaki, and I didn't have a car for 11 years. All I had was a bike, and I had a trunk on the back, and one of those clear fairings, and I traveled all the time. I went from San Francisco up to Seattle, out to Phoenix, down to San Diego and back. Just did that triad constantly. But on the trunk, in big letters, it said Perry Cycle. Are you getting the joke yet? Perry Cycle. I actually had people pull up next to me in traffic and go, "Hey, what's a Perry Cycle?" "It's mine." "Your name's Perry?" "Yes, it is." "What are you, a comedian?" "Yes, I am." And they would try to run me over. Turns out people don't like it when there's a joke and they don't get it. So we were hanging out at the Comedy Store. She got to meet Richard Pryor, and Dice Clay had just become Dice, and Sam Kinison was there, and David Letterman was stopping in, and Robin was doing sets, so we were hanging out there. And then one day she says, "Hey, why don't you come out to my house out here in Van Nuys?" So I drove out there. I walk in, there's a guy sitting on the couch, there's a little baby trying to crawl along the floor, and a little boy and a girl in the corner. I said, "Honey, who are these kids?" And she goes, "I guess I forgot to tell you, I have children." And I'm looking at the 2 doors thinking, which one of these is going to get me out of here quicker? So don't saying don't get involved with somebody who has baggage. My wife owns Samsonite. But I got to know the kids. We all moved into together, her, me, and the 3 kids. And I found out little by little that they did not know their fathers. So because I don't drink, one night at dinner, I gave everybody a little gold ring, put it on their fingers, and I got down beside the table, and I said, "I'd like to ask the 4 of you to marry me." And all the females said, "Okay," except for my son, and said, "Yeah, whatever, can we just have dinner now?" Because boys are so romantic, aren't they, ladies? Sure they are. Yeah, they're romantic, and this isn't my right leg. So, we got married at City Hall. We drove down to City Hall, downtown Los Angeles. I walked up to the counter and said, "Hi, we'd like to get married." And the guy goes, "Oh, you like to get married?" I said, "Yeah, we want to get married." He goes, "Oh, we can marry you. We marry all kind of people here." The kids are now backing up. They're sneaking out the door. And I said, "Well, so we get, oh yeah, we marry you. Fill out this form, have a seat, we call you when we're ready." So we're sitting there, I fill out the form, all of a sudden we hear, "Sarah and Perry, please come in." We walk in, it's the same guy. He's wearing a judge's robe, the full gown, and he's speaking perfect English. Like he took the Rosetta Stone in 20 minutes. And he's ready to go. Now, Sarah, do you take Perry to be your lawfully wed husband? She goes, I do. And Perry, do you take these people to be your family? And I said, what the heck? I'm here, right? See, now the women are laughing. You know why the women are laughing, guys? Because men are idiots. We are. And when we do something stupid, women remember the dumb stuff we do forever! You never forget. You save it up till 20 years later to throw it back in our face to remind us what morons we really are. And we're not as advanced as you. Women are much more advanced. You're much smarter than us. You can do more things at once. That's why you have the babies. That's why you can have a baby. You can carry a baby. You cook and clean. You can drive and go to work. Men can barely pull up their zipper without getting caught. So we got married. We went on the road. We were going to travel. And our first stop, and I'll never forget this, it was so romantic. Our first stop on the road for our honeymoon was Barstow. We didn't even make it to Vegas. We were in Barstow. You know what people do for fun in Barstow? They drive down the road, they go look at the giant thermometer and try and guess what the next temperature is going to be. Well, it's 79. What do you think? It might be 80. Well, we went on the road. We moved out to South Carolina because there was a lot of comedy work out there. They were still paying well. And we moved across the street from my wife's father, Jimmy, a good old country boy, 6'5". He knew everybody in town. And one day, he threw a barbecue on his back 40, as they called it. And there were about 150, 160 people. And he goes out and he goes, hey, everybody, come here. Everybody, gather around, make a circle. Come here, make a circle. Hey, everybody, hey, Bobby, put the gun down. Bobby. Just lay it down. Don't push it with your foot. Just lay it down. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for coming down here. As you know, my daughter's back and she's married. And this is my new son-in-law. And he puts his hand around my head. He goes, this is my son-in-law, Perry. He's a real Jew boy. Everybody in line just leans over like this. And from the back of the line I hear, I never seen one before. I actually had one guy come up to me and he's looking at the top of my head. And he's like looking, I said, what are you looking for? He said, you ain't got no horns. I said, we shaved those off in the 1300s. So we lived there, we went on the road, did really well. The money was great in those days. We stayed in nice hotels and we traveled. My kids became like little comedians. They would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning and sleep until it was time for us to leave. My kids could sit in the back seat of a rented car for 6 hours and not fight. That's an accomplishment. Then we moved back here. And my wife had always wanted more kids, but I didn't, you know, I'm looking at me, you know, I look like an alien. I didn't really think it was safe to reproduce. And one day she says, come here, I need to talk to you. I said, what? She says, come in the bedroom. And I go, okay. And I said, what's up? She goes, well, I said, what did I do wrong this time? She said, you did good. I said, what did I do? She goes, I'm pregnant. And I said, any idea who the father is? She didn't seem to find any humor in that. And she says, you're the father. I said, oh, great. And she says, well, get used to it and grow into it. And I just sat down on the couch. And I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what she meant by grow into it. But I watched her grow into motherhood. I watched her grow and grow and grow and grow. She was so round, if you pushed her sideways, she would roll back to a standing position. She gained 127 pounds. She was massive. Her boobs were so big, each one had its own zip code. It had smaller boobs orbiting around it. Well, 5 weeks before the baby was due, she was having a lot of pain. The vein in her head was popping out. I took her to the Good Samaritan Hospital. Doctor examined, said, Mr. Kurtz, you've got 20 minutes to get the baby out of your wife, or she's going to die. And I looked at her and said, can you give me 30 minutes to think about that? And he goes, you really are a comedian, aren't you? He said, well, it's going to be a cesarean. We'll call you and you can come in. So I'm out there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a baby, me. I'm reproducing, just what we need, more aliens, great, great. I go in there, they got her strapped to the table, her legs are attached to ropes, the doctor's in between her legs, and he had cut her from hip to hip. She had a giant gash, so now she had two of them. And he had both arms inside of her. And he's rooting around in there, picking stuff up and dropping it, like he lost a watch in a drawer. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Meanwhile, he's talking to the nurses about renting cars to go to Las Vegas. No, don't use National, use Enterprise. No, wait, in my wallet, take my wallet out. There's a card in there for a discount. And I got upset. I said, hey, do you have any idea what you're doing? Classic answer, this isn't my first rodeo. I said, how many times have you done this? He goes, oh, 3 or 4. I said, what? He goes, 1,000. Get it, Mr. Comedian? Finally takes her out and hands her to me, and she was so tiny. Now, anybody here have children that you know of? All right, yeah. Well, when you have a child, the most amazing thing you will ever see is to look into that baby's eyes. When you look into your first child's eyes, it is more beautiful than all the sunsets, all the sunrises, all the roses, more beautiful than $1 million in cash. All right, that one's close. And I'm holding her, I'm crying. Doctor says, she looks like you, she's got the big ears. Oh, great, thank you. We took her home, and I thought she was so beautiful, we named her Bella. And I remember it was, I guess, 2-3 weeks after she was home, she was in the bassinet. And I got up to go to the bathroom. As I come back, I'm walking through the bedroom, and I hear, "Rrr," and I jumped. I thought it was the devil. You ever hear the devil? They always sound like I'm Lucifer, I'm the devil. Rrr. I think it would be better if they sounded like Ethel Merman. Anybody remember her? There's no business like soul business. So I keep on walking. Then I hear it again. A smell hits me, and my eyebrows and eyelashes burst into flame. I fell to the floor and I couldn't get the air back into my body. I crawl up into the bed and I wake my wife up. Honey, what is that horrible smell from the baby? She goes, oh, we give them baby food. It has beans in it and it gets the gas out while they're sleeping. And I said, well, I wish you'd warn me of that. She said, I told you to grow into it. Yeah, whatever. A couple nights later, we're sitting in the living room, we're watching a Disney movie as a family. All the kids are there. And my wife says, you know what, I'm going to go watch a cop show. And I thought, well, that's kind of not the best image. We're watching Disney. You're going to watch people shoot each other. So I figured I would get even. So I waited until she was sleeping. And I ate some baby food. I waited until my stomach was going. I crawled into bed. I woke her up. I said, honey, pull my finger. She's half asleep, she pulls my finger, goes, oh my God, what's that horrible smell? I said, baby food, good night. So now, my other 3 children, they're all over 30, they're all working, they're all business people. Like me, they don't drink. And I have a 15-year-old daughter, she turned 15 yesterday. And I love her with all my heart. She's this tall, so that means in a year she's gonna be this tall. And she'll be kicking my ass. But I've never hit any of my kids. I don't believe in doing that. My dad did that, and I don't believe in ever hitting a child. It is better to guilt the shit out of them. And one of the tricks I learned from a friend is you can trick them into doing things. See, if you talk to them directly, first thing they're going to do is you're an adult, and they're going to shut you down. So what I learned to do is be in the other room and talk about, well, I really wish you would clean up a room. It would make me so happy if you would actually clean up a room. Then they feel guilty, and they come up and they go, you know what, I'm going to go clean up my room, and they think it was their idea. So I used that. So now, she's in 10th grade. She's a dancer. She's into K-pop. Anybody know what K-pop is? That's Korean rock and roll. She goes to all the concerts. She's at a concert right now down in Buena Park. She's been to 14 concerts this year, and she says she doesn't get out enough. I've been to 14 concerts in my life, and I'm 68, but she goes all the time. So I love her very much, and she's very funny. She's always got something interesting to say, but she is my daughter, and I don't know if you ladies remember when you were 14 years old. Remember? how even-keeled you were and how you never got upset and you never asked for anything. You never whined and cried and bitched and stuff like that. No. I looked up 15-year-old daughter in the dictionary. It says 2 words, you're fucked. So I got my little baby now. But I'm happy, I'm alive. I'm 68 years old. I'm still walking around. I still don't drink. You know, occasionally I will smoke some marijuana, you know, but only if it's there. And, you know, and where the pot smokers at go, what? And who has some extra pot we can do after the show? No, don't raise your hand. Everybody, yeah. Here's a hint. Never smoke a lot of marijuana and go food shopping. I did this once. I spent $135 and all I got was butter. But I'm not a big pothead. I'll have maybe 1 or 2 hits a night. That's all I need. I don't want to get wasted. I want to be able to still walk because pot is so good now. In the old days, we had stuff called Colombian gold. It came in a brick like this, and it was light brown, and it had seeds the size of your knuckles. You know, and you would be smoking a joint and be popping on you, exploding. The seeds would light up. So now it's so good, I just take very little bits. But I try to stay busy. I go out. I do this thing called karaoke. Anybody ever been to karaoke? Yeah. Anybody in this room not go to karaoke? I didn't think so. Yeah. I love going to karaoke, but I'm trying to stay healthy. You know, I'm trying to accept the world we're living in because it's upside down. And you know, LA's a big city. I mean, I meet people and I say, where do you live? And they go, oh, I live near the taco stand because they're everywhere. You know, it used to be, where do you live? Well, I live at the Starbucks. Now it's, I live by the tacos. It's unbelievable. And driving in this city, is it me or are the drivers getting worse by the hour? Yeah. They have no idea what the turn signal is for. They think that's where they hang their keys. They don't know. They don't look. They just put on their turn signal and they change lanes in front of you. And I figured out the worst ones. Black or white cars. They're the most average. Worse than that is black or white cars with tinted windows. They're assholes you can't see. Then there's the big trucks with the big wheels. And then there are the BMWs and the Mercedes-Benz in white or black with the backup. And they drive any way they want because they got enough money they can buy any new car. They don't care if they hit you. The worst ones are the Dodges. Priuses are okay, but they can't. They take off like this. Once they're moving, they're fine, but they have no first gear. They start in fourth. I swear to God. But the worst one are the ones with the big lights that go all the way across the back. The Dodges, the Dodge Charger, the Dodge Challenger, and the Dodge Jerk-Off. And here's a hint. I was driving down the 118, and I was driving. I usually go about 80 miles an hour if I can. And I'm in traffic at 2:30 in the afternoon, and everybody's doing 80 miles an hour. All of a sudden, one of them big, giant white pickups pulls up next to me, and they're arrogant. They don't care, because they figure they'll knock you off the road. The wheels are up to here. They're eye level with me. And he pulls up next to me, and just pulls in front of me, and hits his brakes. And I couldn't stop. I slid right into him, and my front end hit his tires. I stopped. He gets out, comes back, and he's a big guy, all muscle, good bike like his. You know, he's so big, he used tongs to reach the penis. And he comes walking back, and he knocks on my window. And I put the window, I go, can I help you? He goes, yeah, you hit my truck. I said, oh, really? He says, yeah. I said, back up. He goes, what? And I kicked the door open as hard as I could. And I jumped out. I said, so what's your problem? And he's like looking at me like this because I only come up to here on it. And he goes, well, you hit my truck. I said, all right, I hit your truck. You jumped in front of me at 80 miles an hour. And I showed, yeah, come here. Let me show you. And he shows me the bumper. The bumper is at eye level. And I said, now, wait a minute. Your bumper's up here, but the front of my car is down here. And you're telling me that I hit the back of your truck? He says, yeah, man, look at that mark on the bumper. I said, I put a mark on your bumper. You know what? Let's go back and look at the dash cam. And he goes, He gets in his truck and he drives away. So do yourself a favor, spend $10 to get a dash cam, because they're getting worse. They are getting worse. And you know what's the worst drivers, and I hate to say I'm a part of it? Old people. But I mean like really old, like 90 to 100, because they still drive. They can't go to the bathroom by themselves, but they still drive. And you can tell when they're really old, when they're looking through the steering wheel. See, and I talk about old people because that's where most of my money comes from. I decided about 15 years ago to start entertaining seniors and people in hospitals. It's very rewarding to see their eyes light up. And old people are very, very different. See, they say whatever they want. They have no filter. I had a couple making out in the back of the room, and I said, "Hey, you guys, what are you, teenagers back there?" And he's got his hand on her neck. He goes, "Leave us alone." I said, "Are you guys in love?" And he looks at her and goes, "Nah, we're just fucking." And they are. STDs are rampant in the senior homes because they're not going to use condoms. Because they figure, who's going to get pregnant? My sperm don't even have tails anymore. And they're all doing it. The strangest one, I did a show up in Palmdale. It was a small room. It's like half the size of this room. 14 women and one guy. Now, in the senior homes, there's one man for every 10 women. The old saying, why do men die before their wives? Because they want to. So there's one guy for every 10 or 12 women. And he is required to service all the women. So there's 14 women in this room and one guy in the corner. And he's snoring like this. One of the ladies says, "Do you have any dirty jokes?" I said, "I don't do dirty jokes. I keep it clean." She goes, "I got one." Okay. And she goes, "My husband's balls are so hairy." And the other lady goes, "How hairy are they?" And she goes, they're hysterical. I'm laughing. I can't get the air back in my body. Guy walks in and lays down an oval silver tray on the table next to me. And I looked, I said, "Oh, we're going to eat something." The lady in the back says, "If you like to eat pussy." The old guy wakes up and goes, "That's all I get to do around here." Last time I saw a boner, a dog was humping my leg. But they do say weird stuff. I had a couple, they were sitting there in the front row and she had her hand on the inside of his thigh. And I said, "Are you guys a couple?" And she goes, "Whatever." I said, "How long have you been together?" She goes, "A while." I said, "Are you married?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "How long are you married?" She says, 4 years. I said, "How long have you known each other?" She goes, 54 years. I said, "So you knew each other for 50 years, and then you got married. What made you rush into this?" And she said, "We're waiting for our spouses to die." They have a right to talk like that. It's they're all waiting. I had another couple sitting in the back, and they were just yapping and making out. And they said, "Hey, you guys back there, look at you two. Are you guys a couple?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "How long have you been married?" He says, 78 years. I said, 78 years? You've been together for 78 years. How old are you guys? He goes, 98. We're both 98. We have the same birthday. Where did you meet? We met on our first day of first grade, and we've never been separated. I said, well, 78 years is a long time. What's the magic that's kept you guys together? And he says, we stopped talking to each other about 20 years ago. It's all about communication. But they are weird. I had one lady come up to me after a show, and she was this tall, giant woman. And she comes walking up to me sideways like John Wayne, like this. And puts her arm around my head and says, "Honey, I love your comedy, but listen, my husband's not doing really good. Why don't you come back and see me in 6 months?" Then she takes my head and turns it towards her and kisses me hard on the lips for 3 seconds. And I know it was 3 seconds because I heard myself go, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. And she pulled away and she goes, baby, I'll be here when you get back. And then she walked away trying to be sexy. It looked like this. So I ain't going back to that one. There's just too much weird stuff going on. I heard on the news just 3 weeks ago, they said that STDs are rampant in America. That it's up way higher than it's ever been. There's too much of it. And they said that the one thing that's worse is in LA, we have more STDs than any other city because of everybody dating online. And they said that syphilis is up 900% of what it was 2 years ago. And they said it's all because of this guy sitting right here. He's been passing that shit out. Yeah. But there is so much weird stuff going on. I mean, we got the presidency, we don't have the presidency. I don't know what's going to happen with the presidency, you know. And honestly, everybody's looking for the transcripts, you know, transcripts from his conversation. He hid them. I know where he hid them. He shoved them up his own ass. We can get him out of there, but first we got to pull out Putin's dick. You gotta watch what you say about the president. Remember when they had the shooting in Las Vegas at the country western concert? That night I was on stage and I said, yeah, there was a shooting at a concert out in Vegas, country western concert. Look, I don't like country or western either. But this guy was up there just shooting everybody. And the president was in town. Why didn't they aim at him? Shoot for the pumpkin in the corner. I don't know what's going to go on. Anybody registered to vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, more of you? Don't we really have a reason to be voting now? See, we made a mistake last time. A lot of people said, oh, he's not going to win. No, he won because he cheated on his wife, who I'm sure is a very nice person. Can you imagine being married to him? No, you're a bad girl, very stupid girl, bad girl. I don't know. Any questions so far? Anybody celebrating anything out there? Birthdays coming up? You got a birthday? No? Why did she point at you?
She got engaged.
You got engaged! Congratulations! Wow, to a person?
Right here.
Gentleman back there, the lucky recipient of your love. He seems like a nice guy. Is he?
Yeah.
She said, yeah, he's all right. All right. How long have you known him?
4 years.
All right. That's good. He seems decent. He seems all right, you know. You guys plan on having any kids? I don't mean tonight.
No.
Maybe after the show, I'll let you use one of the other rooms if you want. That's great. Look, the most important thing you guys can do is realize that marriage takes a lot of work. It's a matter of give and take. Okay? Guys, you gotta learn to give, and women, you have to learn to take his shit. That's just the way it is. Realize we're just men, and, you know, the brain is not up here. Boy, when you guys get quiet, you don't fuck around, you know? I think that's really important. But earlier I mentioned sex, and if you guys are having sex, and I'm assuming you guys are once in a while. She's afraid to answer at this point. Come on! You know you be fucking. Come on! But you gotta be careful. There is so much stuff out there. They're saying now, if you have unsafe sex, you have a 1 in 100,000 chance of getting AIDS. The way I see it, if you're sleeping around, you better use a condom. I believe in them completely. I wear them all the time. I got one on right now. It's kind of neat because when I walk, it slides up and down. And it feels like I'm never alone. Now you get condoms with ribs. I think that's great because I'm always hungry after sex. The sauce was a little runny, but Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for so long. Laughs are great, but if you get an entire audience to groan at the same time, they're all going, ugh, I'm killing it. They make condoms with reservoir tips. Reservoir tips. Why would anybody want to save this stuff? I bought a grow some, I cut the tips off. They're much more comfortable. It's like air conditioning. And they come in flavors. They come in flavors. Yeah. What are you going to do if you bite into a banana-flavored penis? Oh, it tastes like a banana. Well, it looks like a banana. You know, chocolate, strawberry, all kinds of flavors. That's great. You know, better than breath mint. Somebody smells your breath. Well, what's on your breath? Penis. Oh, okay. It's natural. That's important. I remember when my daughter hit 10 years old, she said, Dad, I've got my period. I said, really? She said, yeah, but don't worry, I'm not going to use tampons. I said, why not? She says, they're way too intrusive. Okay, I'm good with that. Don't use those things. You know, but now she's growing up. But glad you guys showed up. It would have been really weird if there was nobody here. But we got a couple guys here. It's like, it's all guys, and then we got 3 women in that row, and then one it's like, mostly, it's like a sausage fest in here. I feel like I'm out of one of the karaoke bars. Which is what I love going to karaoke. I mean, I'm out every night. It is my favorite thing. To get up there and ruin somebody's favorite song. Because I ask for suggestions, because what I do, if you've never seen it, I freestyle. And I'll show you in a little while, but Thursday night, I asked a woman to give me a suggestion. She suggested that I freestyle to My Heart Will Go On from Titanic. Imagine that. And I got up and I rapped to that. And I was ripping it, just killing it. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you did Celine Dion. I go, I wouldn't do her, she's too old. I would kill her. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this up and do something for you that I'm very proud of. I was on a show called The Late Late Show with James Corden. You all know who he is? He is unquestionably the nicest person I have ever met. Before the show, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. And did I tell you this already? No, all right. I'm waiting in the dressing room. I had a little sign went on the dressing room. This room reserved for Pryor Kurtz. I went, yeah, big time. And he comes in, he goes, hello, I'm James, I'll be your host. He says, can I sit down? I said, it's your show. He goes, I just want you to know, I've looked at your comedy, and I love your angle. And I said, what? He says, I'm sorry. I mean, your point of view, I'm still learning the language. That's how cool he is. So they have me on the show now. I'm not going to say what I said, because I want you to look up the link. It was very unusual. But I did play a very strange instrument. And that would be this. My guitar. Yeah! You guys remember these way back from the 80s? These are very ancient. And what's great about it is you turn it on, you hit a button, and you're instantly playing rhythm and blues. And you can jam with it. Sounds like the whole band. And it plays by itself. It doesn't even need you. You don't have to buy a drink. You don't have to give it a room. Just shove a couple batteries up its ass and it's happy. So what we're going to do, we're going to sing an old song. I don't know if any of you remember it. It's called Louie Louie. Hey. All right, hey is good enough for me. And what you guys get to sing is the lyrics. Now, nobody knows the actual lyrics of the song. If you've ever heard it, you don't understand it. What they were saying is, the guys admitted on the radio 10 years ago that they were drunk off their asses. All they remember is the lyric, which is, Louie, Louie, oh, baby, we gotta go now. Aye, and they say it twice. So that's what I want you guys to do. The rest of it, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Here we go. Yeah. I'm gonna do Louie, 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 that's right, I'm gonna do it. I'm not even gonna try. You're looking at me like, what is this old guy going to do? That's right, I'm gonna rap for all of you. You're looking at me saying, wow, I can't believe he's freestyling. That's right, you can't believe I'm freestyling just because I'm white. How many can tell that by looking? It's the lights, that's what it is. Yep, yep. So some of you are drinking beer and some maybe some schnapps, but who knows what's going on? Maybe you brought your own hops. Well, I'm up here trying to tell you what I do, and now I'm going to do it special for you. Now remember, I'm a trained professional. Do not try this at home. My tongue's bleeding, that's really funny. Okay, now I need you guys to sing with me. Ready? Everybody. Louie, Louie. Oh, baby. We gotta go now. Just me. Ay, 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 you do. Louie, Louie. Come on. Oh, baby. We gotta go now. Ay, 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 ay. Well, I want to thank you for coming to the Curry Show. Hopefully you'll see this version or maybe an updated version. You can find me at PurryFunny.com. I came up with Purry Funny because nobody remembers my name. So I say, yeah, I'm at Purry Funny. And they go, Purry Funny. Oh, like very funny. Get back in your cage. So, to get out of here, you basically go to the corner, make a left or right. That's me knowing. Thank you all for being here. Take care of yourselves and never give up. Dream on.